And welcome back to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. We're going to talk about the Lycoming County Inmate Death. Mark's going to basically walk me through it since I haven't had a chance to be updated on it yet. And Mark wants to wish Thug a happy birthday, so we're going to talk about Thug Rose as well. Before we have John Mackey come on and do some Quizzo with us. But before, I know there's fires in the West. The heat is exhausting. Buildings are collapsing. All these things going on. Really, all anybody wants to know is, how are you feeling today, Mark?
I am good.
There you go.
How's that?
That's it. Listen, that's all you got for me.
I came on yesterday, told you the Clippers were going to win. The Clippers won big. I did not tell you that Paul George was going to make every shot he took because I didn't know that was going to happen. But I did think they were going to win, and I think Atlanta's going to put on a good showing tonight. I think people are worried that Trey Johnson's got a tweaked ankle, and which he does.
Yeah.
And I think that the Hawks are going to rise up and play a lot better than people think.
I hope so. That's what I'm hoping for. They're exciting to watch. You brought up this story today that we covered on NorthcentralPa.com. If you are looking for it online, you can simply go to NorthcentralPa.com. Inmate dies in Lycoming County Prison. Brett and Carrie did a fantastic job on it, but you wanted to dive in something a little deeper into the story.
Well, this is, again, as we kind of look for different angles, as I was reading through this, the inmate dies in prison. And because he was an inmate, there's no debate as to the identity of the deceased. So they have not yet allowed the family to come in and identify the body as they do in the outside world, because the body is already positively identified. So from a logistical standpoint, I understand that. From a psychological closure, grieving standpoint, it seems like an incredibly heartless way for the judicial system, the penal system, to handle this. And I'm guessing this is all around. This is the way it's handled, I assume, all over the world.
Sure.
Or all over the country, I shouldn't say in the world, whatever. But the response is they do not allow the family members to come identify the body or to come view the body or whatever until after the autopsy is performed.
Okay.
Which then that brings me to a question, because you don't know, I don't know. And again, I think this is everywhere. I think this is just standard operating prison policy. Why would that rule be in place?
Yeah, so it always goes back, like, transparency is huge. Like, especially, we always talk about, like, sports, and we always talk about, like, all-star voting, and why nothing's worse than votes where you can't tell, right? Like, you can't tell who voted for who, and you just want full transparency. So this is one of those cases where I'm sure there has to be something that you and I are not thinking about. Like, there has to be something in there that would make sense for them to not want to be completely transparent with the family. Because if there isn't, then it just feels off. It just psychologically, it feels like it's not necessarily morally correct.
Yes. And my guess is that I haven't done any statistical research. There are deaths in prison by natural causes. And this is what is being assumed here, that he had a heart issue, and the family's claiming that he wasn't able to they weren't taking him to his doctor's appointments, which I don't know whether that's true or not, but that's not my topic of discussion here. But there are inmates that die of natural causes, and there are inmates that die of unnatural causes, which, they're murdered in prison. And I'm wondering, because if like the family's not going in and touching the body and examining the body and all that to mess up the autopsy, I would assume they're on the other side of glass that they can just see the body. And so my guess is that this window of opportunity gives the prison system time to formulate a plan for all the times that inmates are murdered.
Well, a month or two ago, I would have said to you, this may have something to do with COVID. like the restrictions as far as like getting the family into the prison, who's allowed to come in, because I'm sure the restrictions before COVID were difficult, and I'm sure once COVID started, it was almost impossible. So a month or two ago, I would have said to you, like, maybe this is protocol because of COVID and because of everything that's going on. I agree with you. Like, transparency is key. And, it's hard because I don't want to sit here and say like they're doing this or doing that. There must be a procedure. There must be a process in place that would prohibit them from coming in to see it, because otherwise transparency would just solve everything. Like you said, it's not like they need to come in and do the autopsy themselves. It's not like it's just the idea of being able to come in, peace of mind, and being able to see that this is what happened or that the person has passed away. Because there's a lot, like, not to get too psychological, but there's a lot of people that like they cannot believe it until they actually see it. When a loved one passes away.
I just talked to someone like that who said that she never really accepted it until the funeral. Yeah. When she saw the body in the casket. So yeah, I understand that the prison system has to come up with a set of rules that they can follow for them. But it just seems, especially if it's local, like this is a local prison. This isn't someone in a federal prison who's in a different state who's been, and you're like, hey, he passed away. And they're like, we can be there in a half hour. And they're like, no, we'll see you in 5 days. Like, it seems incredibly heartless. And why would you instill a rule that's that heartless? There must be a reason, and I can't come up with one unless it's to stall. And I'm not, because, and again, sure, if this is policy, sometimes they don't need to stall, but maybe sometimes they do. And it just seems, I don't know. I don't know enough about this to talk about it, but just usually in life, when you have, adults, that we can come up with rational theories, and I'm having trouble with this one.
Yeah, it seems off. I would say this, and see, I don't know the stats on it. I don't know. It would be interesting to have someone come on from the prison or somebody who actually would know the policies or the statistics. I'm curious to see how often they actually have to deal with something like this. And if that were the case, is maybe that has something to do with the policy. Like if this is something you're handling and you're doing this weekly, you're doing it, every 3 days, this is something you're handling. I don't, but to me, like, I can't imagine that's how often they're dealing with it. I'm speculating there. So I do wonder, like, if you're handling this weekly, if you're handling this more on like almost like a day-to-day basis, I wonder if those policies are just to allow you time to debrief, to handle the situation. But yeah, from a psychological standpoint, I'm with you. It does feel, you use the word heartless. It does feel like you are setting people up to doubt. And that to me is the bigger issue. I don't want to say that being heartless isn't a problem, but to me, it's just the idea of like, I just wouldn't want to give anybody doubt that something didn't go to protocol or something didn't go the way that you're claiming it went. So for me, that would be kind of the question. I would be curious to hear someone talk about the policy in that manner of kind of like, this is going to create doubt. So why is the policy what it is, and kind of what happens throughout it? That would kind of be my question. What I would be interested in hearing.
I'm with you.
All right, let's do you like MMA. You seem to be diving more and more into it, which is good because it's something you said you enjoy it, but also too, it's something to bond with your son as well, because you said he's really into it.
He loves it.
So one of the people that you told me about her and you are kind of like, you are all in, is someone that is referred to as Thug Rose, and it is her birthday. So we are going to use this opportunity for you to give your passionate speech about Thug Rose and wish her a happy birthday.
Well, I got a text from my son this one. My son loves MMA and can talk it. Him and a buddy of his can just talk it for hours. And I got a text, and all it says is, it's your favorite fighter's birthday. And that was it. There was no gender. There was nothing more specific. And I just put Thug ? And he said, yep. So like, he knows. It is one of those things. My son loves it, and a couple of his friends love it. So there's two, me and a mom, that we kind of rotate back and forth between the pay-per-views. But there's lots of them that we can get through ESPN Plus. So we watch it a lot. And I would have never guessed that I enjoy watching women fight, because I would have thought that, if you grew up in the WWE, and then the women's matches just aren't the same.
Unless it was over you, right?
Unless what?
Unless they were fighting over you.
Well, that's
right?
true. Yes.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. Like, I loved watching Trish Stratus and Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson. I mean, it didn't hurt, but just and I would have thought, you know, I would have bet $1 million that watching women's MMA was stupid. And these girls can fight.
Oh, yeah.
And when the women's card, like, you don't ever look at a card with the 5 main events and say, like, oh, there's too many women's fights. Actually, I saw one, there were no women's fights. And I mean, these girls are tough. These girls fight. They're athletic. And Thug did something. I should ask my son. I think she won the title, lost the title, and won the title back, and was the first chick to ever do that. But in her last fight, she kicked some girl in the head. And you don't land a lot of kicks to the head in MMA because they can defend. There's a lot of lower body kicks. But she kicked a girl in the head, and the girl's whole body went limp. And I thought she killed her. And I'm sure you can Google it and you can YouTube it. Just Thug Rose head kick. And it's awesome. So she's got the Sinead O'Connor haircut. But yeah, she's my favorite. So happy birthday. If I was making a list of like the top 10 people I want to interview on the Midday show, Thug is on my list.
Thug's up there. We could probably get someone local. I know there is, because she always comes up on my feed. I know there is a girl from the Northern Tier. I think her last name is Bickhart. She had a brother that was a good football player, and she's like working her way kind of like through it. So I don't know. Maybe we could extend an invite and have them come on. Because just competing is fun, and I never try to judge people who compete, no matter what it is they're competing at, right? Like because I just think competition in general is fun. But it would be incredible to get to hear somebody talk about this, because like you go into this and like even the winners most of the time are pretty banged up. Like you go into this knowing you are going to get hit, you are going to get beat. So it would be interesting to kind of hear somebody's mentality towards that and kind of like why that was the challenge or the competition that they accepted.
Yeah, and you just wonder, like with guys, you just picture that these guys were kind of, the street rats. That these were kids that have been fighting in alleys since they were 11 years old, and they just grew up in the rough parts. And that's what you just figure. You just don't see like if you're a 12-year-old girl that's rough, like who are they fighting with? Where are they? And you just wonder, like, where did they come from and where did they train and where did they realize that and I know girls wrestling is growing and all these girl sports are growing, but it's just weird. Like you can see some of these kids and figure they got into boxing when they were young or they wrestled when they were young, but the women, I don't know, maybe they never started until they were 18 or 19. But it's Thug's birthday. Happy birthday, Thug. She's I think lightweight champ. Flyweight.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I believe it's called straw weight is I think what it's referred to. I think.
Okay.
Go ahead and thank Weiss Markets.
Thank you to Wise Markets. I was there this morning. Some days Jeff over exaggerates and says I was there 7 times, but I was already there today. So thank you to Wise Markets for sponsoring us through. Yesterday, someone won a $100 gift card to Wise, and that person was who, Jeff? We lost Jeff. We lost his feed. Oh, that's great. Who won yesterday? Now we can't hear you. Now we're deaf.
Yesterday, his name was Ethan Siddell.
There we go.
Ethan Siddell, the $100 gift card.
Ethan won the $100 gift card. So we'd like to thank Wise Markets. They have $25 gift card, $50 gift card, $100 gift card. Also, Moon and Raven, Eat and Run Catering, and the Break Room. I'm now about to spin the wheel. Oh, here's how you get. You go to Facebook, search Midday Show. We come up, join the group. We have hundreds of people in our group. And every day the computer spits out one, and that person wins a T-shirt and may win something more.
Perfect. Today's random winner, I'm going to give it to you. You're going to spin, and as you're spinning, I'm going to go somewhere quiet. Today's random winner is Terry Standridge. Terry Standridge.
Nothing. Sorry. Like the Montreal Canadiens just coming up blank. Although the Canadians did score.
At least you're honest about it. As I'm muted and as I'm getting you guys set up, you go ahead and you can talk about where we were at with Quizzo last time we did it, and I'll bring John on with you.
Where are you going?
I'm going to go to a classroom where it's quiet.
Oh, okay. Well, John, welcome in, buddy. Is he here? Last week, I put on an intellectual display of epic proportions, which I think I got. There was like an introductory question that I got that didn't officially count, and then after that, I was worthless. But that happens every now and then. But John, I did hear. So last night you were at Boom City, correct, John?
Yeah, Boom City Monday nights. Yeah, it's been going well. Things are
I heard
open.
someone was there. Someone was there, sent me a question that they lost because they're losers. Their team is a bunch of losers, and said something about they missed a question about Lou Gehrig, and she started reading it to me and was going to give me. She said it's multiple choice, so just hold on. And it was what year was his speech? And before the multiple choice team came out, as I said, I think it was 39, and of course I was right. So I'm good at the trivia questions that aren't asked to me. One of the interesting things about that, the Lou Gehrig "I'm the luckiest man on the face of the earth" speech is one of the most famous moments in baseball history. And it was within weeks of the first Little League game ever being played, which at the moment didn't have the significance that the Lou Gehrig speech had at the moment. But historically, it was also one of the watershed moments in American baseball history.
Yeah.
And these two events were like literally 2 weeks or 12 days or something like that apart.
And how amazing is it that the second one of those took place right here in Williamsport?
Right here. And people don't – I was just talking to someone about this when I was at a baseball game, district playoff games at Bowman Field. The first field – they only used it for a year, and it was outside of the center field fence, kind of over by Park Pizza-ish, right in there. And there is a plaque there where the original field was. I say the original field. Now that has an own content. But the first field. Then the second year, they moved it over to, what's it called, Somerset or something, over by where Lycoming Engines is.
Okay.
Over there was a field there for a year. And then because World War II was ramping up and they needed more, because that's where airplane engines were built for World War II, and they needed more space and they were expanding. So Little League moved it. So in the first 3 years of Little League's existence, the field actually jumped. And then finally in the third one, they got to where they are forever. But if you go outside of deep, like if one of the crosscutters would hit like a 600-foot home run to dead center field, it would land on the plaque. So if you're ever out there, just kind of wander out. It's a neat little historical thing.
Nice.
I mean, while we're talking, yeah.
Oh yeah.
While we're talking Little League baseball, I actually just asked a Little League question a night or two ago. Do you all know who Williamsport played in the first Little League World Series? Williamsport was in the very first Little League World Series championship game.
Harrisburg.
Played. No, it's not Harrisburg.
Reading.
No, a little bit closer, about 26 miles away from here.
Hazelton. Bloomsburg.
Lock Haven.
Lock Haven.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, how are you guys doing this week?
We're good. I'm surviving. I have basketball camps.
Basketball camp. Hopefully there's air conditioning at your basketball camp.
There is not, this was a great excuse to come into a classroom where there is.
I'll give you I don't mean to bore people with this, but I'll give you another little League trivia.
Yes, you do.
When it first started, Carl Stotts, they made their league and they said like this is and he helped. He gave everyone the blueprints. Like, if this is our neighborhood league, you go over here and make your neighborhood league. And I know they made one at Maynard, and they made one in Brandon and whatever. And kind of at the end of one of the years, that all the Williamsport leagues, or a couple of the Williamsport leagues, says, well, we should get together and we should pick our best players and we should just play and have like this end of the year tournament. And Carl Stotts, who'd founded it, was like, no, that's not what it's all about. We're not going to do it. So I think it was like Brandon and Maynard got together and they picked essentially all-star teams and played a best of 7. And it was a great success. So then the original league saw that and said, they're on to something. So then the next year they're like, we're the original, we're going to host a World Series. And then they invited all these other leagues from around because Carl had helped all these other leagues get started because he gave them the blueprint. He's like, this is what we did. This is all you need to do. So that's how it all started. But the initial one, the Williamsport series didn't involve Original because Original didn't want to be part of it. And then they saw and they were like, oh, this is a good idea. And that's how the World Series birthed. So anyway, be that as it may, there's your little tidbit. And now you can ask me questions that I don't know the answers to.
Yeah, hopefully you do a little bit better than last week.
I disagree. I think you revel in the fact that I was dumb.
No. I don't revel in anyone's failure. You know, people aren't having fun answering questions in trivia, they're not going to come. So, you know, all right. Well, listen, we had the 4th of July weekend coming up, so I thought maybe I would theme the questions loosely around 4th of July. So, you guys ready for the first question?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. What 2012 remake of a 1984 movie starred Chris Hemsworth in the role of Jed Eckert? What 2012 remake of a 1984 movie starred Chris Hemsworth in the role of Jed Eckert?
So I know who they were, but I don't know the title of the movie. But they were the Wolverines.
Red
but
Dawn.
I can't. That's what it was. I just remembered that they were the Wolverines.
That would have been my guess, but I never saw the remake because I was a little offended.
I'm like 90% sure Hemsworth.
I didn't think it was that old, but yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, should be Red Dawn.
You guys got it, Red Dawn. And I also agree, Mark. I was highly offended that they remade that movie.
Did you see the new one?
No, I refused to watch it.
I refused to watch it too. Good for us.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't. I'm not going to sit here and try to argue that it should have been made, but it was not bad.
You know another remake that shouldn't have been made? Footloose.
Yes.
Sure. Refused to watch that one. RoboCop. Travesty.
Yes.
The new the Karate Kid with Will Smith's kid. No.
I did watch that, and it was. You will be sorely disappointed.
Yeah. Well, I will never watch it, so it's not a big deal. So.
Good.
All right,
Stick to your gun, buddy.
Let's go on to the second question. What large land deal was announced to the U.S. public on July 4th, 1803? What large land deal was announced to the public on July 4th, 1803?
I have one guess.
If it's not the Louisiana Purchase, I don't know what it is.
That was the only guess I have.
I mean, Alaska was bought much, much later than that, right? I don't even know. I'm getting mixed up, and I don't want to sound dumb, but I thought, didn't the Louisiana Purchase also have something to do with Alaska, or am I getting those two things crossed? No, I don't think so. But as we were spreading west, it has to be the Louisiana Purchase.
It's the only one that came to mind. Like, I don't have another guess.
That's our answer.
All right, you guys are correct. Don't ever second guess yourself. Well, maybe once in a while second guess yourself. But you guys got it.
Listen, I've been spending a lifetime of second guessing myself, buddy. It's hard to turn it off.
All right, third question. Who released the song "This Land Is Your Land" in 1940? Who released the song "This Land Is Your Land" in 1940?
This is all you, because I have no idea.
I think my only guess is Arlo Guthrie. That's it. I got no discussion. If it's not Arlo Guthrie, I don't know the answer.
Okay, yeah, go with Arlo, because I don't even have a guess.
Well, you're very, very close. It's Woody Guthrie.
Oh.
Is Arlo his kid?
I don't know. I'm not going to say one way or the other. Either brother or child. I'm not sure. But yeah.
All right.
But listen, if we're playing Quizzo, I might give you credit for that.
I was going to say, I don't feel like a total loser with that. Woody Guthrie. Yeah, I guess. There is an Arlo Guthrie who sings.
All right, here we go. I'm going to hit you with some basketball. I know Jeff's a big basketball guy. Horace Grant, 4-time NBA champ Horace Grant. He was born on the 4th of July. He played for the Bulls. We all know that. But he also played for 3 other teams during his career. What were those teams?
I'm 3/4 of the way there.
What do you got?
He obviously Chicago, which doesn't count. He then went to Orlando, he was an all-star in Orlando. A lot of people don't know his best years were actually for the Magic. He finished with the Lakers, I believe, unless he like signed like a 1-year deal at the end with somebody. He finished with the Lakers when he was I want to say he was washed up, but he was just kind of there. I'm struggling because I'm getting him mixed up with his twin brother Harvey. So I keep thinking Washington, but Harvey played in Washington. So I'm trying to think of where he would have went either at the end of his career or where he would have went between Orlando and Los Angeles.
He was never a Knick, was he?
He was not that I know of. He was never a Knick. Give me just 10 more seconds. Sorry, I know this is great television.
No, you take your time. I can count like you're the Greek freak at the foul line.
Like the shot clock as it's going down. It's got to be something obscure. Like it has to be something like he was there for like a season at the end, or he got traded mid-season and was there for like it, because otherwise I do not remember this.
He was never an expansion pickup, was he?
The only expansion, well, it wouldn't even be an expansion. The only two would have been Vancouver moving to Memphis, and then you had Seattle moving to Oklahoma City.
No, but
those
like
weren't
when Toronto
expansions.
came in, they had expansion.
Yeah, but that was like 95. It wouldn't have been then. Toronto, Vancouver would have been like 1995. He was with the Magic, and he was fine.
Okay.
I don't think it's Memphis or Oklahoma City because I don't think they did expansion drafts. I think the teams just packed up and moved.
Yeah, they did not. They just moved.
A part of me wants to say, but see, like it's just in the back of my head because like watching them, like I wanted to say Phoenix or like LA, but that's just because I saw them last night. I would go with something along like a contender at the end of his career. New York's a decent guess. It's not Washington. That was his brother.
Wait. I don't mean to interrupt your train of thought. Did you just go from contender to New York in like
back then at the 90s? They went to the finals in 2000, 99, 2000.
I guess. Okay.
They were through the 90s. They were a great contender. It's awful 20 years later. I will do this just to keep the show moving. I'm going to guess Portland. I don't feel great about it, but I don't know where else he would have gone.
I'm not overruling Jeff in any way. I was going to say Charlotte, but
Charlotte's a good one.
But I have no idea.
I don't think we're
Jeff,
right.
you've done very well with this.
We'll guess Charlotte or Portland, but I don't. This was a very good question because it must be something super obscure.
So you're throwing both of those out there, Charlotte.
Sure, because I don't think either of them are right.
All right, neither are right. One's pretty close. It was the Seattle Supersonics. He played for one season with the Seattle Supersonics.
Okay.
Yeah. Two different stints with both the Magic and the Lakers, though. So.
Yeah,
that's
a great question.
Teams that don't even exist anymore. That's great. Yeah.
John, do you know? Was it at the end of his career, or was it in the middle of? Was it at the end of his career, or was it in the middle of it?
It was before. It was between the Magic and the Lakers.
Okay.
Yeah. So
good question.
I believe we've had this discussion before. Technically speaking, the Seattle Supersonics still do exist, right?
Yes. Technically speaking,
their records are still
in the Hanukkah song. That's
right.
The only place they exist, in the Hanukkah song. I always refer to him as Ho Grant. So this Horace thing, I don't even know who that is.
You might be the only person in America that refers to him as that.
They called him that his whole career.
Whose career? His career?
Ho Grant. Yeah, they called him Ho all the time. I'm not making that up.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, here we go. Next question.
Last question. You guys are doing good this week. This is the
hold on. Before we get to the last question, give us your rundown.
Yeah, so Monday nights we're at Boom City. Tonight we have a slight change in my schedule. We are now at the Rusty Rail in Mifflinburg on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock. A little bit earlier start at the Rusty Rail, and then I head back to Williamsport where we do the Bullfrog Brewery. Wednesday nights is I just lost my train of thought. Wednesday nights is now just the Brickyard in Williamsport, right? Because Kimball's is taking the summer off. And Thursday nights, we now have the Town Tavern in Lewisburg at 7 o'clock, and we also have Three Beards Brewing Company right outside of Sunbury, also at 7 o'clock. And again, that was first week last week. We had 13 teams there. It was a great turnout. A really cool place if you've never checked it out. And then starting next week, I'll mention this again next week, we're starting back up at Otto's and State College on Tuesday nights. So.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Last question for today. This is the 7-letter B word used to describe a rapidly fired sequence of aerial fireworks. This is the 7-letter B word used to describe a rapidly fired sequence of aerial fireworks. I've obviously given you the first letter, so you just need to find the remaining 6 to form the 7-letter B word.
My only guess, Jeff, would be barrage. But I don't know how to spell barrage.
Well, I think you're a letter short, I think. I could be wrong. No, if it's double R. Is it double R? Someone comment. Is it double R?
Getting help.
I can't think of anything.
Lifeline. It's a spelling. It's a clerical, though. It's a clerical clue. The first word that came to mind was like blast, blasting. Barrage is good. Barrage is really good. If it's double R, I really like that. If it's double R.
I can't think of any other guess.
I can't think of anything that's remotely close.
We're going with it. Barrage.
Barrage.
Right. You guys got it. It's barrage.
Look at you.
Redeemed.
Wow.
I came back just like Paul George.
Wow. That is impressive.
Look
Look at the smile on it. Look how happy I am that you showed up. I'm thrilled.
I know I had a bad week. John, you won't know, but like off the scene, like I was verbally reprimanded. Like we're finding a replacement for you. Like I was on like a 10-day contract. He was like, I am getting a new teammate if you suck again the way you sucked last week.
That's intense.
I didn't sleep last night. I was worried.
He was up reading encyclopedias.
Are you guys heading downtown for the fireworks? They're back. They're back this year.
You know, Jeff, you want to start with this?
So we can leave you on. This is a good topic to kind of end on today. I don't get fireworks.
Whoops. And you just froze. Everything just froze.
Am I still here?
Oh.
Now
you're back.
I do not understand fireworks. Mark expresses that he's not really sure he understands fireworks. Now, I don't have kids. Mark at least had kids. But like I don't really get them. Like I don't understand the fascination with them.
I don't know if you have to understand it.
I mean, I can imagine it's like parades. I can get 150 years ago when, what did he say that I missed?
He said, I don't really know if you have to understand it.
They're fireworks.
They're fireworks.
I mean, I get it.
What's there to understand?
Back in the day where there was no entertainment and they just and you're like, ooh, this is fireworks. You watch them go up, ooh.
I agree with his statement. In 2021, the idea of burning stuff up into the sky does feel like very what's the word I'm looking for? Archaic. Like it does feel like it's from the past a little bit.
Like I think Jeff, what was your explanation yesterday? Who likes to watch fireworks?
Single guys like to watch fireworks. Single guys like to watch fireworks because single girls are hoping there's a single guy who wants to watch fireworks.
So the midday show is anti-fireworks. This is what I'm hearing.
I just don't get it. I think they're as boring as a parade.
Okay.
As boring as a parade. I would argue parades are way better than fireworks.
Why?
It's just there's candy. There's you actually can people actually kind of talk and commiserate during it. Like I will take a parade.
When I think of parades, I think of my mom having it on the TV and watching it. Being at a parade is better. I'll give you that.
Being at a parade trumps fireworks every time.
I agree with that. But I see them as both, like sitting there watching a parade on TV, like, ooh, oh, there's a 50-foot Mickey Mouse balloon. Isn't that great? Or watching fireworks go, ooh, I don't get it.
See, the
And
Macy's,
people cram
though,
their cars in. You can't get out. You can't get in like trap. I don't get it.
the Macy's one, though, it depends, I guess, on the scale of it. Like, on the scale of it, like, the Macy's is legit.
Is it?
Yes. You don't think so?
On TV?
Yes, because they have performances and people are singing and like it all depends on the parade.
People are lip syncing.
Yeah, it's terrible.
There's no sing.
Wow. All right. So you guys are just like anti the Macy's parade.
Yes.
Probably because I was forced to watch it my entire life because my grandmother was always there for Thanksgiving and we had to watch the parade. That was what we had to do.
And again, in 1926, I realized why it was cool. But we have better things now.
I say the same thing about you every day.
See,
all right.
John, I'm just happy I'm invited back for another week. I did well enough. I'm going to be in the lineup again. So
wouldn't be the same without you, Mark.
Yes. Thanks again, John. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, well, have a good week. Be safe this weekend.
We'll see you soon. All right, that was good. You were clutch today. You were good.
I know we've been saying this for like 2 months. One of these days we're showing up somewhere and we're gonna house people.
You think so? I do.
We're gonna walk in. Where there's 13 teams, you and I would walk in and like 11 of the teams would just get up and leave.
It depends where you go, because I went to the Bullfrog religiously for like 3 years, and I'll tell you what, there are teams there. Like if you miss a question or two, you're out. Like you are done. You almost have to play a clean game through 4 rounds or else you are not winning. Well,
my off the record statement is we would be in a lot of trouble then. My on the record statement is bring it on.
It also depends. It also like it's funny because like you don't want your 4 best friends. Like you don't want a group of people that are all in on the things you like to talk about. Like go ahead.
Yeah, you want, it's like a football team. You need big guys who can block. You need little guys who can catch. You need a guy who can throw. It is. You need balance on your roster. There's no doubt about that.
We always joked. We had a buddy who would come who just knew music. Like he just knew songs and artists and everything else. Our best performances were typically when he showed up because he just knew all the music stuff that we just didn't know. Like we just didn't have a music guy. So when he wasn't around, we struggled. All of a sudden he's sitting at the table and we're looking like the scores announced and we're in like 3rd place, you know? So it makes a huge difference in who you have with you.
And you are saying that our problem is the only people that like us are people who are like us.
Well, no, our greatest benefit is our 15, 20 year gap. That's our biggest benefit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you just are able to, and the other part too is I'll trigger something, but you'll know how to finish the answer and vice versa. Like today, I knew that they were called the Wolverines. Like I knew Hemsworth was running around in like a leather jacket yelling Wolverines in this movie, but I couldn't think of the title of the movie to save my life.
Yeah, I think I would have got that one just because I didn't have a better guess. But
you would have guessed Red Dawn.
When you said Wolverines, I mean, that's it.
I honestly, for the longest time, I thought that's what the movie was called.
Well, you are not correct.
Or I'm just younger. I don't know. I don't know how to say.
Well, you are younger. You're also not correct.
That's true. Anything else before we go today?
I got nothing. I think the Hawks are going to play really well tonight.
We're hoping. Yes, I agree with you. We're hoping for better news. I will tell you right now, when we open up Twitter and Vice and Fox and MSNBC and CNN, like when we're opening all this stuff up and we're trying to find stuff to talk about, it is a lot of like doom and gloom right now. So maybe what we should try to do tomorrow is we will try to find like happy stories, funny stories, like comical stories. Like maybe we'll try to have like a midweek like picker upper or something.
Yeah, and Dan the intern comes in. He's like, here's a story you guys should talk about. And he starts rattling through the details and ends up with a guy getting shot.
It is.
And we're like, yeah, that's.
And listen,
that's
if you're looking for it, like you can find negative news every day. Like I'm not saying like this is, but I'm like right now today, there is not a lot of positive news. It is like you have to dig for it today. So maybe you and I will dig tonight and tomorrow morning, and maybe what we'll do is we'll try to find some funny stories, some laid back stories, some picker uppers tomorrow, and we'll talk.
We have one picker upper for you from a famous Pennsylvanian. We'll just tease that. Your favorite Pennsylvanian who you told me about before.
Oh, yes.
So we'll tease that. So we got one happy story, at least for Jeff.
And maybe that's what I'll do too. Maybe I will rank my favorite Pennsylvanians. Maybe I'll do like a celebrity Pennsylvania and I'll like rank where I think they fall.
Do I fall on this list?
Yes, I will put you on the list. I did do an honorable mention last time I did a list. So
there you go. There you go.
All right.
So yeah, that'll be good. We'll do that tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to go to Weiss Markets for all your grocery needs. Mark's already been there twice today. You can catch him there again this afternoon. Be sure to go to NorthcentralPa.com to check up on all your local news, including the inmate that passed away at Lycoming County, if you want to stay up to date on that as well, which we talked about at the beginning of the show. And thank you guys. In order to win, join the Midday Show Facebook group. And I think I covered it all.
You did. You did very well.
I think I made it. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina, and we will see you tomorrow.
Later.